Hello, my friends. You are welcome to Prof One TV. I'm called Emmanuel Owusu, and in today's episode, we are going to learn about innovative means to make an establishment. Right? We are going to direct or redirect the lost ones that they've moved away from their target trying to hit. Before we get into it, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, Prof One TV, and then you follow up always, every day, anytime, as it's going to have a great impact on your career, your profession. 5 key steps of making an establishment. To remind you again, as you subscribe to the channel, you'd also have to like the video and you share to your other friends, colleagues, for them to also follow up for. So moving back, the 5 very key innovative strategies to making an establishment. Before I get into it, I would like you to just in 5 seconds, just think of some plans you've made before. Probably in some years past, in some months past, in some weeks ago, right? Some plans that you've made. It could be that you've had a conversation, a discussion about it with some group of people. It could be your parents, your neighbors. It could be your mentors. It could be your businessmen, your managers that you think that probably they are ahead of you and could help you achieve that aim. But yet nothing comes up, right? Implementation of plans, many people take it as anything goes. But on a real note, it isn't as the masses sees it. Right. So with this, we are going to talk about 5 key strategies of making your own establishment. Innovativeness is about you coming up with new ideas on your own. Probably you've made some observation, you've made some investigation, and you've realized that there is something new that needs to be done about this particular thing that you've observed, right? But how to go by it, where to start it, and who to even do it with is a very big issue that needs to be addressed. I'm very sure that by the end of this talk, you are going to advance your career. We're also going to help you build your personal development with respect to your profession, with respect to what you are trying to come up with. Okay, I'm sure as at now you've given a thought of what I just asked you to do, as to think of something that you've planned to do before, but due to some challenges and some hindrances, some very little knowledge that you'd have known to make it possible, that you couldn't get. Probably you said, let me quit, let me stop. But one very key thing that you always have to remember before you say, I quit, I've stopped, I've ceased doing this, is that you'd always have to think about the number of people connected to your destiny. If you realize that all these people are looking up to me, then I don't have to give up. So let's dive into it about our 5 innovative strategies to make an establishment. Number 1 is to engage in observation and listening. Engage in observation and listening. Innovators are very good at giving a careful consideration to anything they encounter, giving a close attention. It could be your first time to encounter some situation. It could be your first time to see something, probably at a conference, a workshop, a seminar, any event at all, right? and then you've got to notice that something needs to be done about it. At that very particular point in time, we don't argue, we don't talk much, but rather that turn you saw, and then it has come in mind that yes, something new needs to be done about this. You just give a close attention to it, you give a careful consideration to it. Where there is the need for clarification, you ask for clarification, but not to argue about it. So as you are making observation and then giving close consideration, attentive ears to it, is as a result of you absorbing information. So if in academic research, we would say that you are doing data collection to take an action, right? But here you are gathering information, right? You are absorbing the information that are necessary, that are required for you to be certain that, of course, there is a reformation that needs to be done about this particular thing, this particular thing. So the 5 key innovative means of making an establishment on your own is: one, to engage in observation and listening. What would then be the next step? The second innovative strategic means of making an establishment is to do what we call it analysis and sampling. Analysis and sampling. This is the second stage of making an establishment. Analysis and sampling here is you've gathered a lot of information, right? You've absorbed a lot of information from where you had all this information, you've gathered it, yes, you've piled them here, that this is this is that. So now you are coming to analyze it. You are now coming to analyze them. You are now coming to assess them and then know that, okay, this point, okay, it's fine. We need to put it as it is. Okay, this one, well, there's a medium of this that needs to be put on it. While this one, there is a little bit of reformation that needs to be done about it, right? So that is where you are going to make an analysis about the information that you have gathered, about the information that you've absorbed during your first stage, right? So you've analyzed whatever information you've gathered. So sampling, you then have to select out of the many, right? You've observed a lot, you've listened a lot, and you've come, you sit back to analyze all. So now you'd have to do what? Sampling. You select out of the many, the priority. Sampling is all about you making selection out of the many that you've analyzed, you've gathered. So the second stage in making your establishment is to do analysis and sampling. Okay, so moving on to the third stage in making one's own establishment is preparation. So you are done with your first stage, which is observation and listening. You've come to your second stage, analysis and sampling. Then you move to the third stage, which is preparation. Here is where a lot comes in. So as you've observed, you've listened, you've come to do your analysis, you've come to do your sampling, your selection, you are done with all these. So the selections that you have made, you are now coming to also gather what can help you to put it into action. So here is in the preparation is where you are coming to think about how to go by it, where and when to go by it, and who to do it with. That is the preparation stage. So at this very point in time, many people get to say, oh, I can't do this, let me quit. But as I said earlier, before you say let me quit, you'd have to think of the people that are connected to your destiny. And then you'd have to remember why you started. There was a reason that made you start that action. You've gotten to your 10th stage, you don't have to say, I quit. If you give ears to the naysayers, of course you are going to quit. But it shouldn't happen so. At the preparation stage, well, is where you are going to gather, as I have said earlier, your resources. The resources could be a human, a material, information. It could be a technological device, a local device. It could be some a particular person that you'd have to go for admonition, maybe for a little bit knowledge, experience to add up to yours, and then say that, okay, then I can go ahead. It could be a financial support, a monetary support that you would want. But in some instances, people get to give up at this point, or because they think that after their analysis, their sampling, and they've gotten to know that this is what can be done, well, then I don't have all these resources. But let me tell you that one very key ability about innovators, about creative people, is their ability to ask for help. Having the ability to ask for help is a very key advantage for every individual. So where there is the need for you to seek help, you have to do it. You have to do away with nervousness, fears. You have to do away with all kind of anxiety. I'm shy, I'm this. You have to put them aside and think of why you started. You go ahead. You always have to give it a go ahead. Where you go and someone tell you that you can't do this, to you in particular, you have to take it as you can do this. Go ahead of what you are doing. So the third stage in this 5 key innovative means of making an establishment is preparation. You are putting together, you are bringing together all that are required for you to take your action. Okay, so after the third stage, the first stage of putting up your establishment is implementation stage. The third stage, which is preparation, you've gathered all the resources that are required for you to take your action. So you've gotten to implementation stage. You are going to execute your plans. So the implementation stage is all about you carrying out what you've gathered. It's all about execution. It does not have to be, and it don't have to be that you've mobilized the resources, you are done with your preparation, that you need to take an action, then you would sit back and say that, let me wait for this particular thing. It draws you back. It always pulls you back. The moment you see yourself to be complete in your preparation stage, you have to proceed to take your action. That is the implementation stage. That is your implementation stage. If at that stage there is the need again for you to go to someone else for a particular help, as I said earlier, you don't have to hesitate of doing that. You don't have to hesitate of doing that, but rather always give it a go ahead. Words have power. You do not have to give attention to the naysayers. I keep on saying, because I know that words have power on people. Words have power on people. So as far as you start your implementation, you don't have to give ears to whatever that will pass through. All you have to do is to give it a go ahead. You put together this, that, you've gathered this, you've piled this, you've been to this person, you've done that, you've put this here. So you always have to move forward by doing what you have to do without saying no to just a point. So implementation stage as the fourth innovative strategic means of making an establishment. So the fifth stage, which is the last stage in my key innovative strategies of making an establishment, is completion stage. At the completion stage is where you say to yourself that I'm done with this, because you've executed all the plans you've planned, right? You've put it into action, you are done with implementation. So the moment you release it for people to realize that there has been a success, there has been this establishment here, then it is said to be complete. It is said to be done. And that is the completion stage. The moment it comes out for a third party to see that, oh, Mr. Owusu has made this establishment, then of course it is done. It is complete. That is why I have issued it out. I have released it out for people to come in. Probably it would be something that after the completion, you would need people to uh, make it a sustainable one. That is the completion stage in your 5 key innovative strategic means of making an establishment. At this very point in time is where you're said to be an innovator, because innovativeness is about you coming out with new ideas on your own, making something new done with your own ideas, with your own resources, your own knowledge. The fact that you are approaching people, you are going to a second party or a third party to seek for a little know-how, a little knowledge to add up to what you have to make something done, does not necessarily mean that it isn't done by yourself and with your own knowledge. You've done it on your own, and you got the power to do it. That is why you've made it possible. So these are the 5 very key innovative strategies of making an establishment. I hope this has been very educative, and of course it's going to take effect henceforth. As I said earlier, don't forget to subscribe to my channel Prof1 TV, and always follow up for more videos on this channel Prof1 TV. As you subscribe to the channel, you always have to also like my videos, and you share for your other people to also follow up for more educative talks on this channel.